For this video, I wanted to do the top 10 best apps for musicians. But in editing it, I realized that there are really only 5 that I had that are worth noting, other than the typical tuner, piano types that everybody knows and everybody has their different kinds and favorites. The ones that I'm going to be showing you today are really unique, and one is even Snapchat. And I know you're probably thinking, well, that's not an app for a musician, but the way that I use it makes me think that it's really one of the best ones for musicians. So definitely stay tuned to the end to find out about that. But for now, we're going to start with the free app, Tiny Decision. The way that I use this is for educational purposes, but there's so many applications you can use for it. It's just a big wheel that you can customize, and you can say what's on the wheel, and it's so great to kind of gamify whatever you're doing. What I have right now set up is a what to practice, and I have several different options from audition music, excerpts, slurs, buzzing, some different fundamental stuff, but all I have to do is spin the wheel and it will select it for me. It says I'm gonna be doing audition music. With marching band kids, I've used it with, oh, we have this much that we need to get done. Here's the list. What do we want to work on first? Press that button and they're like, oh. And the trick to that is to really get the kids engaged, add a little 5-minute break in there. So they are rooting for that 5-minute break. It gives them an interest in it. And I always think that adds a little bit of a fun. And hey, if it gets selected, give them a 5-minute break. That's great. They love that. They love you. And then the next app that I have for us today is the Drum Beats Plus app. Now this is $4.99, so it is a little bit more expensive, but it is not the most expensive one on the list. Now, if somebody in your life hasn't stressed enough how important the metronome practicing is in your daily life, I will be the first one to do that. Practicing with a metronome is so incredibly important, but just hearing a single tick, tick, tick over and over again can get so boring. And that's where Drum Beats Plus comes into play. It just has an endless list of different beats that you can practice with. So what this does is it lets you practice in different genres, different styles, and helps you get into a groove of something rather than just the typical tick, tick, tick. That is so obnoxious at times. Some of my favorites are the Nashville Drive one, the Electro Beat, or the Thud Punch. Okay, and the next app is the most expensive app on the list so far. It is the Amazing Slow Downer, and it is $14.99. Now, if you're in high school, middle school, and you're just kind of doing tuba for fun, maybe it's not worth it to spend $15 on an app, but for somebody who's in college doing music professionally, I think this app is so important. The way that I use this the most is through Spotify. You can connect your Spotify account, save a playlist, and then access any of your playlists on this app. So, for example, last semester, I was doing the wind ensemble auditions at the University of Tennessee. I had to listen to a bunch of the different songs. Maybe one of those songs was a little bit too fast for me, and all I had to do on that was connect it to the playlist, pull it up on this app, and then I can slow it down and it won't affect the sound. Turn it down to 50%, it's gonna go half as slow, and I can play it. It's such a good app. There's so many things in my playing I have to slow down because I just can't play it yet. Now, this next one is one that's kind of harder to find, so I'm going to give you the name of the company that makes it. It is the Scales app by Carson, Greene, LLC, and it's completely free, and I wish that more people used this, knew about it, but it's kind of hard to find, like I said. I've heard master classes where the teachers told about how much they stress scales, and the way they would kind of randomize it and make it fun would put the name of the scale on a deck of cards, one for each card, and then you would just pull a card at random, and that's the scale you would play. Now, this is basically what that does, except it's all in your app, and it randomizes it. It makes it a little bit more fun, but it just is convenient. It's all on your phone, and it's free. So if I was wanting to play any of my scales, you just touch it, and now it's telling me to say F sharp natural minor, and that's the one that I would play. If you're not at that level, obviously there's ways to customize it to where you're just given the major scales, and then you can introduce the minor scales and the natural, the melodic minors and everything. But that's such a fantastic app because it's so easy to sit down and say, well, I'm going to work on my scales, and just play the ones you're comfortable with and kind of push off the ones that you're not comfortable with. Now for the final app, the one that I think so many of you people will not think of as a music app, but I use it almost every single time I practice for that purpose. It's actually Snapchat, which is 100% free. And you might be saying, well, why? What are you doing? You're sending it to friends and stuff? No, absolutely not. I rarely send pictures or videos of myself playing to friends. But what I do know as a musician is that it is so important to be recording recording yourself. With that in mind, recording yourself a lot is great. Why should you use Snapchat when you can just use the camera on your phone? The issue with using your stock camera roll for recording your videos, it can fill up really fast. And maybe you don't want thousands and thousands of videos of yourself playing from all the hours you spend practicing in a week. I know I don't, and I'm not strict on myself enough to go back and delete it after I'm done. I'm just kind of like, okay, it's there, whatever. And I never go back and listen to them, so what's the point of that? What Snapchat does really well is that you can go hands-free on your recording. I'm recording right now completely hands-free. I don't have to press that button. So you can throw it on your stand and then you can stop the recording and listen to it back. Snapchat does really well is that you can go hands-free on your recording, and then when you're done with that, when you're done with the recording, you can just exit out or save it to your memories if you're like, man, this is a really good recording of myself. But you have that option. It is so much easier to delete and it's a lot quicker. So those are 10 of the apps that I try to use on a regular basis as a musician. I hope that some of them were new and interesting to you. What kind of apps do you use that I didn't mention in this? If you would like more information on any of these apps, let me know in the comments and I'm happy to help you out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Go make life musical, and I'll see you in the next one.